To all my gamers and NFT players, Viral Hip Hop News and the Lightest Fair Network have teamed up to bring you something revolutionary in the gaming and NFT space. Go to play.finesse.fun right now to play the season preview of the game Finesse Shadow Warriors exclusively on play.finesse.fun. Don't be the last to be a part of this new technological advancement in gaming and NFT. Play.finesse.fun to play the season preview of the game Finesse Shadow Warriors. Link is in the description box. Let them know Viral Hip Hop News sent you.
And the
Let's
buffoonery
go.
and the backward thinking. We do that because that's been marketed to us. We've been taught that this is success. We've been taught that the losers are the real winners and that the winners are the real losers. You know, so that's when at that point you get millions of children because of media, the power of media. They're looking up to something that is not healthy, that's not good. You can't tell me when you talk about some of the worst rappers out here that's really rapping about some messed up stuff. There's nothing in that song that's going to lead a young black man to having a good, healthy life. He's going to die young. He's going to end up in jail. He's going to end up unhappy, depressed, on drugs. He's going to also ruin his children and his family. So ultimately, the ability to market other messages and show them examples of men and women in our community that love the community and can still be successful, that comes through media, right? That's why what you guys are doing is so important, because the fact that you have 1 million subscribers means that you got a channel where you can share your perspective, and that can counter what we're kind of getting out of Hollywood or out of the recording industry or whatever, man. So I think that it's a combination, right? On one hand, you need the organizational, institutional infrastructure. On the other hand, we need to go hard when it comes to building the businesses and the media and funding the ideas that we believe in. And then at that point, we won't care so much about what somebody else says about black people, because we'll have something different to say. And people tend to navigate toward the message that makes the most sense, that's the most productive, and that's healthiest for them anyway. Like, I really believe that if you put a Louis Farrakhan next to some coon, Farrakhan, people going to listen to Farrakhan. They're not going to listen to the coon, right? But if Farrakhan ain't got no voice and the coon's doing all the talking, then the opposite ends up occurring.
When a transition, talk about Dilbert, comic creator, cartoonist Scott Adams. I'm sure by now you've seen the comments that he's made and the uproar that's happened from that. A lot of people, a lot of publications have taken his cartoon off. And once again, we got a split down the middle and both sides speaking about what was said. What's your thoughts on what we heard from Scott Adams in relation to how black people feel about white people, us being regarded as a hate group, and then the backlash that came from it?
I'm not real concerned about what white men think about me, to be honest with you. I think that that's an important step we need to take in terms of our self-esteem, is to not always be so triggered by what white folks say about us, right? I think what matters is what you think about yourself. Now, to that extent, I don't feel sorry for this man. I think he definitely broke some protocols. He's in mainstream America where people are more focused on the symbolism of what you say than the substance of what you actually say. So do I feel like what he said was overly offensive? No, I mean, I wasn't offended because I don't take it personally. And also, I'm more of a, I try to be a nuanced thinker. I try to say, well, what was he really trying to say versus what it sounded like? What he was really trying to say was that he's frustrated that he gets called a racist every time he tries to help, and that he's kind of just tired of helping black people. He said something crazy, something like that, which honestly, I just think some stuff you got to keep to yourself, right? And people are just not going to get it. And so that was his error. But again, I don't feel bad for this guy. I do think at the same time, you got to be real careful, though, because this is the kind of dog whistle stuff that gets you distracted from the real racism in this country. There is no systematic oppression happening because somebody saw a Dilbert cartoon. Dilbert ain't got nothing to do with race. So who cares what this guy thinks, right? But they'll have you thinking like, oh yeah, we're making real racial progress because we went and got this Dilbert cartoon creator off the air. Man, that ain't no damn progress. Your kids still can't read. People still getting shot up in your hoods. Your wealth is still stolen. You're still out here begging white folks for jobs. You're still stressed out and frustrated, not getting adequate health care and all these other issues. So to me, what difference does it make? I think that's the big $1 million question. We got to understand the difference between substance and symbolism, right? Firing this man, to me, was symbolism. It's like, okay, if you want to do it, I don't care. I don't feel bad for him. He's had a good career. He's going to be all right. But what I will say is, where's the substance, man? And I encourage everybody to look for substance and just ask themselves and say, what are the things in this world that really affect me as a black man or black woman, right? Like so, for example, we talk about police shootings a lot. How often do you get shot by the police? How often have you been in situations where a cop pulled a gun out on you? I'm not saying it doesn't happen. We know it does occur. But is that your number one concern on a day-to-day basis in terms of things that are happening? Or is your bigger form of racism the fact that you got to go to work every day with a son of a bitch who does not like your ass? Right?
Right.
You know, dealing with that stress. That's called microaggression. That's what causes black men to die younger. A Harvard study showed black men die younger because they go to work every day working for somebody who doesn't like them. Right? Or what else? What else affects you? Are you more affected by what the Dilbert cartoon creator said about you, or are you more impacted by the fact that your family wealth was taken from you and you didn't have a chance to really have the opportunities you deserved in your life, or you don't have anything to leave your kids, or that your kids go to a public school and they're not learning how to read, right? I just really think everybody should really take stock of their lives, right? And know the difference between the stuff that really matters in your life versus the stuff that you're just seeing as entertainment on CNN and TV. You know, not to say these things are not important, but I will tell you the reason that nothing good gets done, like, for example, the reason I can go to almost any city that's run by Democrats and see nothing but poverty and decay and destruction and violence and uneducated kids is because they got you focused on the fake racism instead of the real racism. And that's the other reason why the CNN types, I worked extensively with Ice Cube. I was advising him a lot when he was talking to folks about and doing what he was doing.
Right.
They didn't want to talk to Cube because Cube was coming with a perspective that they're not used to. They're not used to black people being intelligent and unafraid and not sort of kissing your ass, right? They're used to us, saying, okay, boss, whatever you want me to do, I'm gonna do what you want. No, I was happy to work with Cube because I love the fact that this rapper understood from a strategic standpoint that with the platform that he had the opportunity to do some real king-like behavior and really transform the thinking, the possibilities of an entire community. And let me just tell you, just as a person who saw it kind of behind the scenes, they were scared to death to talk to him. Again, an intelligent, powerful, unapologetic black man is the scariest thing in the world, and that's an absolute nightmare. And that's why Joe Biden, he won't talk at all to Q, but he was very happy to go talk to Cardi B because unfortunately Cardi hadn't been educated to the point of understanding what it really means to stand up to that power structure. Right. So they put black people in boxes. Right. And I think that you got to ask yourself, which box am I being put in and which box is most comfortable for me? If we got to get in that Ice Cube box. So God bless Cube for what he did. He didn't have to do it. I loved him for it. And I think that even though he didn't get exactly what we deserved, it really sort of moved the needle in terms of true consciousness that's going to lead to us being a little bit smarter in future elections.